bring on science communicator and epidemiologist at the University of Ottawa, Dr. Raywat Deonandan. Welcome back.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What do you think this means for us here in the capital?
Well, it hopefully means that we'll have some things open before, say, Toronto. But, Ottawa is sort of middle of the road, middle of the pack when it comes to the rankings of regions and municipalities across Ontario and our caseloads. We've got places like Sudbury and Kingston with no active cases. You've got Toronto with close to 1,800 active cases. You have Ottawa with 130 or so active cases. So we're not Toronto, but we're not Kingston. So we have to be a little bit careful. However, we're in good shape, I think, to start to consider some things to be more open.
So we're in decent shape. Do you have any sense of what a responsible timeline for something like this might be for us here in Ottawa?
Wow, that's a tough question. I think 2 weeks. I mean, we're always saying 2 weeks because 2 weeks is the incubation period, essentially. But yeah, so 2 weeks to see what happens to these current active cases. Now that the long-term care center outbreaks are diminishing, we can get a better sense of what the actual community burden really is. So, yeah, I'd be comfortable with a couple of weeks. Now, it all comes down to as well how much public health infrastructure we can deploy in these next couple of weeks. And I know that the province has invested heavily and have announced some impressive numbers. It's unclear, though, where those resources will be applied. Will they be available in Ottawa, or will they be concentrated in the hot zones of Toronto and Peel?
What public health resources are you referring to? Just want to be clear.
Of course, the testing. And they've announced that they want to start mobile testing, which is great. It has to be done. If we can get some mobile testing capacity here, that would be fantastic. And the contact tracing. So the Premier announced that we're hiring about 2,000 contact tracers, which is fantastic. That's probably exactly what we need, about 2,000. And again, where those end up is important. I hate to see them clustered all in Toronto. We need them around the province. A lot of it is phone-based, but some of it does have to be, feet on the ground as well.
I think that places outside of Ottawa, because we have so many communities, and it's the same with Toronto, but we have so many communities that are watching what's happening in Ottawa. We've got Perth, we've got Lanark, we've got Embrun, Chesterville, Limoges, Castleman, Maxville. Do you think those places would be reopening ahead of Ottawa?
I think it's possible. The question is what sorts of things will be reopening. Now, There is a caveat here, and that is those places have lesser hospital capacity. So it's more dangerous for them in some ways. So if we get a couple of cases here in Ottawa, we can rush them to the emergency ward, and there are ventilators in place and facilities of that nature. In the more remote areas, you've got a clinic with 1 or 2 beds, maybe 1 ventilator if you're lucky. So the ability to absorb cases is lesser in those areas. I don't want to say throw open the doors in those areas. I want to say be careful, be confident, but be strategic.
Dr. Deonandan, thank you so much for coming back on the show. We always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Dr. Raywat Deonandan, who joins us from time to time. He's an epidemiologist at the University of Ottawa.